Suzume. That's right, it's the latest and greatest from the amazing pair-up of CoMix Wave Film Studios and director Makoto Shinkai. Suzume lives an ordinary life until she comes across a man on a quest to journey Japan, closing doors between this world and another. She shortly finds her life intertwined with his and must do what she can in order to stop the calamity that lies ahead. This studio director pair has been crushing it for a decade plus now, with films like 5 centimeters per second, Weathering You, and probably their biggest one to date, which is Your Name. If you've seen any of these, then you'll know that without a doubt these are just beautiful showcases of animation. Such deep colours, attention to detail, and presented in a way which is just unique only to this studio. You see a piece of their work and you'll know immediately it's animated by them. Suzume is unquestionably following the same trend, and having the chance to see this in the cinemas was just a true joy. Being on the big screen is where attention to detail is key, and there was never a thing out of place. Seeing changes of hue and colour through things like clear cellophane wrapping, or watching imagery and light refract in and around water. It really does get to sit at the top with some of the best in animation we've seen. This movie, more than past CoMix Wave films, does incorporate 3D CG into things like background moving characters and cars. If you pay hard enough attention, you might find a couple of them look a little bit out of place, but if that's my biggest complaint on the quality of the animation, then I think this film's proved its point. Moving on to the story itself, this might also sit at the top of director Makoto Shinkai's repertoire as one of his best pieces of work. And hear me out in this, but in a few ways, this also reminded me of some of the masterpieces we've had from Studio Ghibli. A story which blends the ordinary with the extraordinary by having you readily accept a 3-legged chair being one of the main characters. And also just having the mysteries of how the other world works not be overly explained. A lot of the director's past works have been slices of life where you throw in one fantasy twist and then you let that idea explore itself amongst a modern world. This isn't too dissimilar from that regard, however the intrigue that we get of trying to learn about what lies ahead I feel like is better executed in here than it is in the past. This is a 2+ hour film and it feels pretty well paced, where drips of truth and new clues to the mystery are given to us at pretty regular intervals. And just when you feel like that system is going to get repetitive, the story then changes going into the climax and it turns into, quite an epic sequence of events. Some really great character designs in here as well, and a lot of those serious tensions are broken up with light-hearted character moments pretty consistently throughout the film. The main duo we had from Your Name I feel like are pretty much up there with some of the most likeable MCs we've had so far, but I feel like this trio in Suzume does a real good job at competing against that. Who comes up with the idea of that chair though, for real? The dynamic between Suzume and Sota works pretty well, and it needs to because a lot of the story relies on their chemistry. I can't remember that cat's name, but also just quite a fun character in here too. And also just a lot of the smaller characters that we meet along the way here are just so incredibly wholesome and do well just to break up that story a little bit. This dude here is one of the MVPs in the story without a doubt, and just how much he's willing to put up with everything and go out of his way to help. Man, even I want him as a friend. And swinging back to that Studio Ghibli vibe that I mentioned earlier, I also mean by that is that we're just not spoon-fed all the answers either. Whilst we know a lot about the mysterious elements behind this film, there's also a lot that we're just flat out given. And we kind of just have to be willing to accept these concepts without questioning too much about it. Whilst that can be frustrating for some, I totally get that, I think what works here though is that it keeps the film feeling fun and relaxing despite all those huge epic moments and sad conflicts that we're thrown. Shit, I haven't talked about the music. God, the music is just great. The soundtrack at times gave me Demon Slayer vibes, which worked really well for a lot of the more epic moments that we had towards the climax. And the main theme was used in healthy doses at the right times with a lot of different variations throughout. It really is a great soundtrack, and I think it plays a big part into what makes this film a success. I was also really scared that the story was going to do that classic anime movie thing where it just ends abruptly, but it does well to circumvent that a little bit by giving us bonus clips throughout the credits. Guys, in the end, what can I say? If you're an anime fan or you've enjoyed any of CoMix's previous films, then this is a no-brainer. Its international release was this weekend, and it's one that just looks stunning on a big screen, so I really recommend going out to try and see it. So yeah, that's Suzume. Have you already seen it? If so, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe and all that, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.